So Nimble is an easy-to-use CRM that works for you in Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, and also everywhere else you work. It'll automatically combine your contacts, communication histories, email inboxes, and calendar appointments into one unified contact record. So you can build stronger relationships by engaging with all of your customers more intelligently. It's also available both on the iOS and Android apps for use in a mobile application. Additionally, Nimble also integrates with social media and almost 200 different applications at this point. So you can definitely connect Nimble to multiple services here. Let me just go ahead and take a minute to set up my screen here so I can begin showing you all that Nimble has to offer. So here we are on the Today page. This is what you'll see when you first go ahead and log into Nimble. It's basically a customizable, dashboard. It should display all of your current projects and engagements for the day. It's designed to allow you to completely, customize to your specific needs, so you can view exactly what your company needs to see at a glance. Before you really start populating this page with data, you'd want to go ahead and make sure all of your accounts are connected to Nimble, so your contacts, your calendars, emails, etc. And you can do all of that in the Networks and Imports page. You can navigate to that by clicking your little avatar in the top right corner, or it might just be an icon that has your initials in it if you have not uploaded a profile picture. So what you'll go ahead and do is navigate to that Networks and Imports page. And this is basically the connection hub for anything you'd go ahead and import into Nimble. When you go ahead and connect your email account, you can definitely, we offer pretty robust integrations with Office 365 and Google Workspace accounts that would allow you to go ahead and sync contacts, calendars, and emails. But if you have any other email provider, you can also connect it through IMAP. You just have to make sure that your account is set up for IMAP protocol. You'll be able to go ahead and do it there. If you have Office 365, for instance, you can go ahead and connect it with one click. You'll just click Connect Office 365 account here. You'll be prompted whether you'd like to connect your email, contacts, or calendars here. And then you'll just go ahead and log in. If you'd like to connect everything, obviously, you'll just leave all the options checked, but you can, of course, skip any data you don't want to pull into your account. You also might, for instance, want to apply a tag to your contact records upon import. When you log in and you're prompted to go ahead and sync your contacts if you'd like to, it'll just be an easy way to group and identify all of the contacts added during a certain import so that any users on the account will know where they came from. And additionally, if you ever need to edit or delete or adjust those contacts in bulk, you can go ahead and do that. If you're using Gmail, it's also a pretty easy connection. Similarly, you'll go ahead and click Connect your G Suite account there. The only difference is that you'll have to scroll down a little bit more to go ahead and connect your calendar. It'll be a secondary connection there. If you're using any IMAP type emails, you'll go ahead and click that IMAP connection option that I mentioned under email accounts here. And if you'd like to connect any of your social networks, you can connect Twitter directly to Nimble to integrate this information. After you've connected your Twitter account to Nimble, you'll be able to see the entire history, the conversations you've had. You'll be able to see your feed, anything like mentions, retweets, conversations you've had with prospects and customers directly inside that Twitter account. And additionally, you'll also be able to send direct messages and status updates from directly here in Nimble so that you can stay within the app. And then additionally, you can connect some information from, for instance, you might want to connect your Facebook account as well to make similar connections. Facebook and LinkedIn made the decision a couple of years ago to close their API, so we're not currently able to integrate with them fully, but we still do make it possible for you to go ahead and add information by using the Nimble Prospector Extension. It's a browser extension you can use. If you'll notice in the top right of my page here by my address bar, it appears there. And this will allow you to go ahead and add information to your profiles directly from this extension. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that a little bit later. Lastly, it's also possible to import your LinkedIn connections through a CSV So you can download them from LinkedIn, and then you can always click here at the top, go ahead and upload that. You'll just map the different columns in the file to the data fields here in Nimble, and that'll go ahead and sync your data. And again, you want to always make sure that you and your teammates are applying tags to those imports, just so you can always make sure that everyone's information is up to date. You can also run this export and import periodically, or you can use the Prospector in Nimble to go ahead and bring in new contacts as you add them to LinkedIn. Nimble will also automatically merge those duplicates if they have the same email address. So that'll help you keep your contact records nice and clean. Additionally, you can import any other contacts directly from a CSV file. This is a convenient way, since many companies do have spreadsheets, list of contacts and companies that they would like to add for their customers and prospects. You can make sure that all of your column names correspond with the fields in Nimble, or you can manually map them upon import. If you are transitioning from a different CRM or importing contacts from LinkedIn, it's possible that we already know what the original file looks like, and you can have the option to go ahead and use saved mappings that you've already adjusted. So for instance, as I import my contacts, you'll notice that I have the option to select from some of the fields that have already been displayed based on the different services that we have listed here. And it's taking a moment to load here. And once you do that, you'll just go ahead and either select this custom mapping that I mentioned, or you can, of course, manually select which fields. If you do have information in your file that doesn't already have a dedicated field here in Nimble, then you can, of course, create a custom field. That might be something you're interested in doing. All right. Yeah, so it would look sort of like so. If you import contact records, you'll notice that the column names and the fields here in Nimble are already present. But additionally, if you'd like to choose, a custom mapping, you might have saved some already that you've created, or we do have some, as I mentioned, from different services that are already listed here. So that'll go ahead and automatically match up those options for you. All right, back to our Today page. Again, where you can see everything here at a glance. Once your emails and calendars are connected and your contacts have been imported, the Today page will automatically be populated with some valuable business information. It's completely customizable, and everyone else in your company can pick what widgets they want to see. So this page would be specific to each user as they log in. The widgets can be moved around, duplicated, removed, of course, and you can go ahead and click on Manage Widgets at the top here to adjust any of that. You can add a logo, change your cover photo, add or remove any of these options, and of course, just drag and drop them to new positions as you'd like. You can also use, for instance, the 3 dots in the top of each corner for any of these widgets to go ahead and do that as well. Duplicating widgets can be helpful if you'd, for instance, like to see different calendars displayed. For instance, you'll notice on my, on my events widget here, there is a record of all the different calendar options. We do have a built-in Nimble calendar, but you can also select between, for instance, if you've selected to go ahead and sync one of those Google calendars or Outlook, they'll be displayed here. So you might, for instance, want to duplicate calendars to have multiple displayed at once. I'm sorry about that. I keep clicking on any of these widgets will also take you directly to their tab here in Nimble as well. So I apologize for that. But yes, you'll be able to see all of your calendar events displayed here. And so you might consider, duplicating widgets to show, for instance, different calendars or tasks with different categories or something like that. This can be very helpful. You can always use that drop-down menu to select. And we additionally have different widgets like, calendars, tasks, email tracking, etc. So for any of this information, you can go ahead and make those adjustments. I'll give you a little walkthrough of each of these. For instance, we do have a task widget here. This would be essentially like to-do list items that you can create for yourself and other team members. You can assign them to different users, link different contacts, as well as different deals that you might be working on directly to these activities. They differ a little bit from our events here on the right, and that these events would be, as I mentioned, synced to a calendar. So whereas the tasks are just created as activities in Nimble, this would be specific to one of those calendars that you synced. And we do have a built-in Nimble calendar in case you don't want to go ahead and connect an Outlook or Office or Gmail calendar directly to Nimble. Moving down, we have a couple widgets that will help you keep certain contacts top of mind. For instance, I do have a Stay in Touch widget here. You can set reminders for any of your contacts, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, or even a custom period. For instance, you could set it for every 90 days, every 3 months, something like that. And basically, as you set these reminders, as the contact approaches the date you've set, they'll be appearing on this list, just to remind you to go ahead and reach out to them so you can keep certain contacts top of mind. You can always reset these reminders. You'll notice that if they appear in red, that means they're overdue. Or you can go ahead and send someone a message to update this automatically. Likewise, our email tracking widget on the right will show you, how anyone's responding to different messages you've sent. So you can, of course, use this drop-down menu to view your single messages, group, any messages that you've muted the tracking stats for, or all of your messages. And here you'll be able to see who's opened any of those messages, as well as who's clicked any links and any of the messages that you've sent there. Likewise, you can view this information in this little bell icon here, and also in your group messages tab if you're sending group messages. For any activities, other activities you might be logging, for instance, we have custom activities. If you would like to create, an activity that's aside from a call or a task, for instance, maybe there's a follow-up or a text or something that your team carries out often, you might consider creating it as a custom activity. And similar to those tasks, you can display all of these here based on their different status and the activity type. And similarly, we have a call tracking widget as well. You can go ahead and log calls in Nimble, just like your activities, and you can go ahead and view any of those calls here on this widget as well. And of course, we have different widgets related to your deals opportunities. So in our deals tab, you can create custom pipelines with as many stages as you need to, really to reflect your sales process or any projects your team might be working on. So you can go ahead and create those pipelines, and then you'll create deals and just sort of drag and drop them through the different stages. You can create deals from here directly, or in that deals tab, or even on a contact record. And you can set a probability of success. You can link any of your contacts as the primary contact or participants. And of course, you can select the pipeline and stage you'd like to go ahead and add that deal to directly. You can also set privacy, so whether you want deals to be private, public so that others can view them, or even public so that others can edit them, depending on how collaboratively your team works. And once you create a deal, you'll see it appear here. It'll either be active, or if you've closed the deal, you will have either marked it won or lost. So you can also view that information here. And then for any specific deals you'd like to view, you can always select that specific pipeline. You might want to use the stage funnel, for instance. This will allow you to track your sales funnel, monitor your active leads, your prospects, and opportunities at each stage, to sort of see a quick overview of the different stages they appear in, where you might need to focus a little bit more, where you're really meeting your goals, etc. And then moving on, there's a couple of different pipeline charts here that will show you, for instance, your revenue over time. Our pipeline chart will show you deals organized by their dates, by their expected close dates, color coding on each bar, just so you can have a visual of the amount of deals you're managing. And then similarly, on our pipeline by revenue chart, you can view each of these deals monthly by the revenue that is displayed there. And then additionally, we do have a signals widget, which I don't have displayed here, but that would display those insights from social media that I mentioned. So daily, you'll receive information like, any job changes, retweets, birthdays, and things like that for your contacts as well. We also have a highlighted contacts widget, which will give you the option to see important contacts based on keywords that you've set. So for instance, you might type in different industries and things like that on our setting page, and it'll link different contacts directly to Nimble here on your home page, so that you can see them sort of at a glance. So for instance, if I've typed in like CEO and a type of an industry on my highlighted contacts here, you'll notice that it'll bring up all of those contacts that are meeting that criteria. The contacts page is where all of your contacts will be stored. Once you and your team begin importing contacts, you'll be able to see them all here in this all contacts filter here. You'll notice that we also have some built-in filters. You can view contacts by just people or companies, any that have been marked important with this little star icon, as well as any of those stay in touch reminders that you've set would be listed in this filter. And of course, we keep track of recently viewed, added, and contacted, so you can see any more recent contacts. If you were to go ahead and view an actual contact record, you'll see all of the basic information about your contacts displayed, as well as any custom fields that you've created, any activities, etc. You'll notice at the top of the record, you'll see, of course, their name, picture, job title, and their short bio here. This biography was actually pulled from social media accounts. So if you'd like to go ahead and link your different contact social media accounts, you can either manually enter the URLs, or you can also click search for contact info down here. And this will perform a search for related social profiles, which will bring in information like, for instance, our smart summary here, which will just give you a bit more information on a contact sphere of influence, their job history, where they're located, things like that, which will help you go ahead and connect when you reach out to them. And then additionally, the biography here under their profile. You'll also notice that directly from this, you can go ahead and log notes. You can create those activities, such as tasks, events, or calls, even custom activities, like I just mentioned. You can also send messages, of course, DMs, as well as emails, and you can create deals. And you'll notice that, of course, the contact name is added to all of these records automatically if you go ahead and create them directly from their profile. You also have the ability to set privacy. So once you begin importing contacts, you or your team members might want to keep your different contacts separate. You can make contacts shared with everyone or visible to everyone if you want other users to be able to see your contacts but not necessarily edit them. You can also make contacts private or even set custom privacy rules for certain users or groups. Privacy groups are useful if you want each of your teammates or departments to have sort of a different set of permissions. This can speed up onboarding. For instance, you might have a sales team and you only want them to have access to different opportunities like your deals and things like that. So you can go ahead and adjust that as you're adding different contacts. You can always go to your settings and then privacy settings to adjust those. You can also set these stay in touch reminders from right here on their profile. And another useful feature is that you can go ahead and assign a contact to their owner. So for any of the users in the account, they can be listed as the contact owner. Likewise, you can leave contacts as unassigned if you don't want them to have a specific owner in Nimble. You'll also be able to review, edit, and create new tags. So if you scroll down on the left here, you'll notice these tags that I mentioned. You can always add them upon import or even directly, of course, here or in that contacts tab while you're working with your different contacts. You might want to easily group and identify them by going ahead and applying a tag. And then additionally, we have our lead fields as well, which will help you go ahead and categorize your customers. You can, for instance, rate them 1 to 5. You can also select a status, the source where you're initially introduced to them, as well as the type of contact they are. These are all drop-down lists that you can select from. And in your data field settings, you can also go ahead and adjust any of these options. So if you, for instance, wanted a different list of options for your status, source, or type, you can go ahead and remove or add any new categories that you'd like to go ahead. That would just reflect you and your team's process a bit better. You'll notice that under interactions here, data fields, of course, would hold all of your basic contact info, those fields I just mentioned, any of the URLs, etc. Under interactions here, this is where you can see any of your history with your contacts. So you'll be able to see any notes, emails, Twitter messages, deals, and activities. You can also select any of these individual tabs here. So once you begin linking contacts to different activities and opportunities, sending them messages, creating deals, etc., you will have a running history of all this information. So if you ever need to go back and see what your relationship was like with a contact, or you want to go ahead and reach out to them, you have this full running history that'll kind of grow as your relationship with your customer grows. Great. Under our Activities tab, that is where you would go ahead and create and view some of these activities as well. There's a couple of different options. For instance, we have an agenda view here, which will just go ahead and show you basically the week's worth of events that you might have created. You can use these filters on the left to decide exactly which type of event you'd like to view, as well as who it might have been assigned to, or even a tag that you might have applied to any of your activities. You can tag contacts, I mentioned. You can also go ahead and tag your tasks, calls, custom activities. So you might want to, for instance, tag all activities related to a certain company or a certain project. You can easily go ahead and see them at once. And for any calendars that you've connected, you can go ahead and select on the left here to add or remove any of those events. We also have the listing view here, which is similar, but you can also filter here based on contacts that are linked to the activity, as well as the status, whether that's completed, pending, or upcoming. And you can also export your activities from here. So if you'd like to export any of this information to a CSV file from your records, you can go ahead and do that. Our Messages tab will show any messages, emails, once you've gone ahead and connected your account. You can also send messages directly from here. This is where you will go ahead and you might have, exchange different information with your prospects and customers. Your Twitter messages will also be here. If you have multiple email accounts connected, you can go ahead and select which account you'd like to view messages from using this drop-down menu here. And likewise for any Twitter DMs, you can see those there as well. Oh, and I'm realizing that one thing I did not show you from the Contacts tab, which might be very helpful to any of you, would be those custom fields. So in addition, of course, to logging notes to add information that might already have a dedicated field here in Nimble, under data fields, next to personal info will be listed any custom fields you've created. So for instance, I have created a field for languages for my different contacts. I've made a drop-down list that I can go ahead and select any of those options from. You can also create fields with text boxes that you can type directly into, numerical values like dates and percentages, things like that. You have quite a few options. You can, of course, navigate to that by going to your settings and then data fields. And this is where you'd be able to create any custom fields for information in Nimble that doesn't already have a dedicated field. Additionally, you can go ahead and attach files from OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, or directly from your computer to your different contact records. So, if there are invoices, video files, any attachments really that might be linked to this contact that'll help you in your interactions, you can go ahead and add them directly to their Nimble profile. When you go back to the Contacts tab, based on any of this information, so any of your custom data fields, your tags, any of those social profiles, etc., you might want to search for contacts based on that information and create targeted lists. And you can do that through the use of our segmentation feature. You can do that either by clicking at the top here, clicking Segment Search, or Add Segment on the left here. And this will allow you to search across any of your data fields to help organize your contacts into lists. Once you organize your contacts into lists, you can take bulk actions, send group messages, set follow-up tasks, etc. So as an example, we might go ahead and create a list. For instance, these would be some of the most popular options, where your contact is located, their job title, what company they work for, etc. And for any other fields, you can search here. For instance, we might want to search based on the last contacted date for any of our contacts. And you'll see there's quite a few options here. I can search based on a specific date, between a certain date range, or even just in the last, for instance, maybe 15 days. So this will give me a list of all my contacts that I've contacted in the last 15 days. And then additionally, you might want to even further filter the search so you can add additional filters. Like if I wanted to see all these contacts that, for instance, have an email present as well, maybe I want to reach out to them, I can just go ahead and click update and it'll give me that list. You can also toggle between the and or to get even smaller groups. And then, of course, I can go ahead and save this for future use and it'll appear here on the left under my segments. Once you have a search created, you can take bulk actions, like for instance, selecting one or multiple of these contacts and marking them important, adding more tags, setting those stay in touch reminders. You can take actions like changing the ownership, privacy, or even adding them to a workflow. We do have a new workflows feature, which is also a pipeline similar to that deals pipeline, but this would help you manage different contact interactions and processes as opposed to sales opportunities and projects. You can also export your contacts in bulk, either to a CSV file, to MailChimp for mailing campaigns, or even to vCard format. And you can also send them a group message, send them a message all at once, or even delete them at bulk. Additionally, if you have contacts that are duplicates, you can select to merge them. I believe you can merge up to 5 at a time. So for instance, if I wanted to select any of my contacts, I can go ahead and click merge, and it'll give me some options of which information I'd like to use and how I'd like to go ahead and merge this contact record. The admin can export contacts, as I mentioned, but you can also give users permission on your account to go ahead and export contacts in bulk. And the same is true for deleting. That will be something that your admin initially will have access to, and they can also give other users the option to do that. And what might be most useful here is sending group messages to your contacts. So once you have a very specific list, all of your contacts from a certain industry or company or of a certain type that you'd like to go ahead and reach out to, you can click send group message at the top here. And this will send you to our group messages form. Nimble will allow you to send targeted messages to 100, 200, or even 300 contacts per day. You'll be able to see your limit in the top right there. And of course, this limit resets daily. So you'll be able to send out marketing messages to your targeted list of contacts. At the moment, this is not an automated system. Our group messaging was designed to be in use with our segmentation feature. So the basic workflow would be creating one of those segments, selecting your contacts, and going ahead and pulling them into this group messages tab. The biggest advantage of this feature is that the messages are being sent over your own personal email server. So they'll appear as if they're sent from you, not an email marketing system, or not like some impersonal email marketing blast. When you compose this message, one of the first things you might want to do is add a merge tag, just so it does appear a bit more personal. You can, for instance, pull in everyone's first name, last name, job title, or company name. So when I, for instance, send out this message, it'll say, hi, Anna, hi, Mara, hi, Marin, Edward, etc. So this is helpful with your outreach. And then additionally, you can, of course, attach files, adjust images, your fonts, links, anything that you, of course, want to add to your message. If you have a signature, like for instance, you'll notice my little signature here, you can create that in your email settings ahead of time, so it'll automatically be added when you begin creating your message. And you also have the option of saving message templates. You can either do that ahead of time, or for instance, if you do really like the message that you've created here, you can go ahead and click Save as New Template. You'll just give it a name. And then once you've saved any of your templates, you'll be able to pull them from this drop-down menu here. So you can pull that information right into the form and go ahead and quickly send out this message. Templates are also shareable, so you can easily share them with your team, so multiple users can send out these messages. You also might consider sending yourself a test message before you go ahead and send it out to everyone, just so you can make sure it appears as you would like it to. And then after you've sent your message, you can go ahead and see the insights, see the tracking stats. As I mentioned, there's a widget on the Today page and that little bell icon, but for any of your group messages, you can just view the group messages tab directly, and you'll go ahead and click there. Once this is done, you'll be able to see at the top here the percentages for who's open, clicked, unread, if anyone's unsubscribed, and if messages have failed to be delivered. Additionally, you can go ahead and see for each individual user how they're interacting with your message. And for any of these, for instance, you might want to select all contacts and open them or not open them. You can perform actions like create tags that might signify this. You can also send another message by clicking send message to reach out to any of these contacts and go ahead and follow up directly if you'd like to. A great way to manage your different processes with your contacts, sort of manage your steps as you're interacting with them, would be to use our Workflows tab. This is a new feature that we've added to help you sort of manage and visualize your progress through different leads, qualifying them as they go through different phases, or even managing, any personal interactions you might be having to strengthen these relationships. Whether you're in the real estate market, marketing, whether you're a recruiter, consultant, or any kind of professional, you can use our customizable templates here. You can create your own different stages here to sort of drag and drop your contacts through, or you can use some of the preset templates we have here. At the beginning of your lead generation process, you might find yourself with a bunch of different contacts and leads at the early stages of your pipeline. They might not be ready to be full deal opportunities yet, but also maybe they're not cold enough to be marked as lost or to remove them completely. So this will help you sort of manage that before you want to add them to a deal pipeline, which is a separate pipeline here in Nimble. It'll help you store your pre-qualified leads. And once you decide they're qualified, you can easily go ahead and convert them to deals by just clicking these three little dots on any of your contacts. You'll click convert to deal. You'll notice the contact's already been added, and this will give you the opportunity to go ahead and change that to a sales opportunity. These leads can also be imported to your account from spreadsheets, so you can add any contacts directly to these workflows from your spreadsheets. And this way, they can be sort of just added and moved throughout your pipeline as you're sort of working. You'll notice that, as I mentioned, you can create custom stages here. So for instance, I've created a new leads pipeline and a potential hires pipeline. You can do that by going to your settings here, clicking settings in the top right corner, and this will take you to the menu where you can create any of these new workflows. You can use a templated option. You'll notice it'll give you the options too. As I mentioned, for specific industries, we do have templates. So you can always select your industry here, and you'll be able to see the stages that the different leads would go through, as well as the fields that will be displayed on those lead cards. So you can always check here. There's quite a few different templates here. And then additionally, if you'd like to go ahead and create one from scratch, you'll just click create from scratch, give it a name, select the colored icon here, and you can create your custom stages. As these are sort of going through the process, at any point you might want to exit these different leads from your pipeline. So you can exit them successfully or unsuccessfully, and you can even list the reasons here. So you'll be able to select from these reasons when you go ahead and create your stage, just to sort of manage your records. Additionally, you can go ahead and decide which information you'd like to be displayed on these cards by selecting that from any of your pre-existing fields, or you can also create custom fields to go ahead and add directly to these lead cards, so that when you view the different pipelines, this will be displayed at a glance. So not only, yes, can you name your stage, you can add instructions for each stage. You notice here, so that you can definitely track your process between your different users on the account, so everyone will know all the steps that need to be carried out for each of these. As I mentioned, you can add your reasons for whether a contact's been lost. And then once you do that and you return to your workflows, for instance, you'll notice the information displayed. I have basic contact info, emails, and tags listed for all of my contacts. So whatever information you'd like to go ahead and select would also be displayed there once you do that. And then, as I mentioned, once you're, or rather, we also have a list view here. So if you prefer to view it in line, as opposed to in each individual thing, you'll notice the stages here listed, the amount of contacts, and you can also perform inline edits from this view, which can be very helpful. If you'd like to go ahead and add information, categorize, select multiple contacts at once to perform those same options that I mentioned in the Contacts tab. You can do that from here. And if you're using the board view, as I demonstrated a little bit earlier, you can go ahead and convert them to deal opportunities. You'll notice this deal form I mentioned, you can go ahead and select your probability of success, select the exact stage and pipeline you'd like to go ahead and add this deal to. And you can view all those deals in our Deals tab here. So you'll notice that the pipelines are similar. This is also the information that feeds back to those today page widgets that I showed you a little bit earlier. So you can see this reflected here. And you'll notice that it changes as you sort of move your different contacts through. You can view any contacts that are, or any deals rather that are active, as well as won. So once they've been closed and won, or even once they've been marked as lost, you can view them here. Similarly, we have a list view for these options as well. The deals feature just really allows you to manage your sales opportunities, your marketing projects. The account owner can delegate permissions to different users to be able to configure and create these pipelines as well. So similar to those leads, you can also create your custom pipelines here. You'll add the amount of stages, any limits for any of your stages, and you'll be able to go ahead and work within those in your deals pipeline here to add any new ones. You can also, of course, create deals from directly within this pipeline. And additionally, just like you can for any of your contacts or your activities, you can also export these deals to a CSV. So if you want to go ahead and click, you'll be able to decide, all deals active, won, or lost, and based on who they've been assigned to. You can go ahead and export your deal records. If you want to view some analyzed information, you can go ahead and check your reports tab. This will show you basically over time how your deals and your sales opportunities really have been progressing. So you can just select a time frame and you'll be able to see your wins versus losses, any active deals versus stuck, your averages for all of those values, as well as the weighted, which is based on that probability of success that you can enter into your deal, and the total view in your pipeline. And of course, you can view this for the entire organization, but you'll also be able to see for each individual team member at the bottom here. So this dashboard will really help you view yourself and your team members' progress. You can view these by pipeline as well as user on the account, and you can print this information for your records. The forecasted deals will show you, your future deal outlooks. Basically, you can sort it by 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you'll be able to see based on the expected close dates and the monetary values you've entered, your probabilities here, your likelihood, success. You can view that in revenue or also the sheer amount of deals listed here. And your deals history will show you all your historic deal results. So you can, of course, just select another time frame here and you'll be able to see a nice line graph of your progress over time, whether that be in revenue or again in the actual number of deals that you're creating. Looks like we've covered all the main features, and I'll go ahead and show you our Prospector extension very quickly. The Prospector is helpful as you're working through your different places on the web. You might, for instance, be on LinkedIn, viewing a profile, and want to add information directly to it. You're making new connections. You can go ahead and click in the top right corner, the little icon for the Prospector next to my address bar there, and it'll bring up the side panel here. And once this is done, you can basically either highlight or hover over contact names to perform searches for them. Nimble will perform a search for any social profiles that are linked to this contact. So once you see one that you're like, yes, I believe this is them, you can go ahead and click there to basically create a live profile for them. You'll notice that this pulled in a smart summary, linked the direct profiles here, right to their profile, and also found like a location as well as an email address. So now if I wanted to, I can go ahead and click add contact, and now this person is in my Nimble contacts. Oh, actually, I'm not in him. But then you'll go ahead and add them to your Nimble contacts, and they'll be listed, in your all contacts filter as well as that recently added filter. You can also move the position of this prospector. If you wanted to go ahead and search for more contacts, as I mentioned, just go ahead and sort of hover over their name, and we'll begin looking for others for you. So this is helpful on LinkedIn. Additionally, if you're just like on a company website, you can also use this. So for instance, you might be on the employees page of the company website or something like that. You can go ahead and take a look. It does look like we're coming to at the end of our time here. So if you did have any questions for me, I would love to go ahead and try and answer those now, initially. So I'll go ahead and give a minute in case anyone would like to go ahead and type a question into that questions box there. Additionally, I did want to go ahead and let everyone know that we are currently offering a promotion for new users. If you want to go ahead and sign up today, you can get 30 days for a Nimble free trial. Just go to nimble.com/offers/webinar30, and you'll go ahead and enter your email address there to begin the Nimble trial. And yes, if you have any questions, I'll go ahead and give you a couple moments. I do hope I was able to answer everything, but if there's something I didn't cover or something you need a little bit more clarification on, please feel free to go ahead and type there. Excellent. So no questions yet, but very helpful. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Additionally, we do have webinars, basic overviews similar to this every weekday, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 9:30. So if you did want another quick review of Nimble, or if you or any of your teammates wanted to pop in, you can always sign up there. And then if you have questions that are specific to your account, you can always reach out to us at care@nimble.com, or you even might be interested in, for instance, scheduling a one-on-one screen share session, which you can do with us. And actually, I'll go ahead and put the link to both of those in the chat here. Yes. So this would be our calendar that you can go ahead and schedule a session to speak with one of our team members directly on. You might also be interested in checking out our support articles here. Chances are, if you have a question, we've probably written a support article about it. You can type directly into the search bar and we'll bring up information on really any topic under the sun you have questions about. And then additionally, we do have a YouTube channel where we do post a lot of our YouTube videos and our webinars such as this. So if you do ever miss a webinar or have any other questions or just want to review, you can always go ahead and check there. It'll be listed there. All right. Miraculously, it doesn't look like we have any questions today. So I guess I'll go ahead and let all of you go. But again, do not hesitate to reach out to us if you ever need any help or if you do have any other questions. I want to thank you all so much for attending today. We really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great rest of your week.